Arnold, a baby who is not here today and was invited here, and Steve Geller, Cooper City. Steve Geller had a long career in the Florida legislature, serving in the House from 88 to 98 and in the Senate from 98 to 2008. And he was Senate Democratic leader, and he was also a former candidate for the county commission. To your right here, Chuck Lanza, Republican of Cooper City, was for 6 years the emergency manager for Broward, responsible for preparedness, response, and coordination of county and city resources during a disaster, and previously held the same position in Miami-Dade. So let's dive in. Steve Geller, Chuck Lanza calls you a career politician, and he says, and I've read it, we need more doctors than lawyers in government and more business people than lobbyists. What's your response to that assertion?
First, it has been my hope, and I assume it will stay this way. I have not mentioned either my Democratic primary opponent by name, nor have I mentioned my Republican general election opponent by name in any of my campaigning, and I hope that it will remain that way. I will say, since you brought up those issues, I have been a member of the legislature. First of all, I've been out of office for 8 years. I assume that there is some sort of statute on career politician status. Additionally, I've never reached $30,000 a year of salary as a member of the Florida legislature. I find it ironic that a person who, during their entire career, has been paid by the government is attacking me for having the part-time salary. I have not raised that issue, and I'm hoping that he will talk about himself and I'll talk about me. Finally, I think that having a law degree, if you're going to be drafting laws or ordinances, is actually quite helpful.
Okay, a quick follow-up question. Mr. Lanza, you've got full opportunity, believe me, but if I heard you correctly, you think there should, and you're an attorney, sir, there should be a statute of limitations on being a career politician.
I don't think that you can be called a career politician. Not that there's anything wrong with that. When you've been out of office for 8 years, I'll tell you, if I'm having surgery, I hope I have a career doctor, and when I'm flying, I hope I have a career pilot. There are real skills involved in being a politician. You need to learn to bring together coalitions. Having experience in this is not a bad thing.
Mr. Lanza, go ahead, the floor is yours. Please respond to these points.
I will, thank you very much. And I'm glad that the Senator brought up the fact that I've been involved with government my entire career. He left out the fact that in 1978, I became a firefighter paramedic, and I worked as a firefighter paramedic until I left the county in 2014. I've always had my license. And I've been in all the communities of Broward County and in Miami-Dade County. I'm the one that goes out there and used to take care of the people that we've talked about, the poor, people who are disadvantaged. I've always been there. I haven't been in Tallahassee for 16 years. Not that there's anything wrong with being in Tallahassee. 20 years? Okay, sorry. Underestimated. He isn't a career politician. But I've been here. I'm the one that's done the work with our community. I know every nook and cranny of Broward County. I work closely. I've provided the emergency management support for all the municipalities. We work very, very closely with all the city commissions, the county commission, and all the city managers.
Okay, I'll stay with you, Mr. Lanza. An issue we've asked the other candidates, you know, Broward County's got huge transportation and infrastructure needs, and it's the nature of the place is, we all know the history, a multitude of cities and towns. Okay, so you've got a lot of mouths to feed and a lot of people, voices at the table. What is your position about the sales tax referendum on the November ballot?
Very interesting question. The sales tax, I've been following that for almost a year now, where the county and the municipalities have gone their separate ways. They came together about 3 months ago and came up with a compromise. And this is another proof that compromises aren't always the right answer. The cities wanted a half cent for infrastructure, which they keep saying has fallen apart, has been underutilized for many, many years. And most of that problem comes, the reliance for infrastructure repair and replacement is on the municipalities. So they haven't done it, it's degraded, and now they want us to pay an extra half cent sales tax for it. The county transit are much more lenient and supportive of that because they have a 20-year plan. They've laid out all the things that they need to do to make the county transportation much better. Whereas on the infrastructure side, they haven't. They still haven't put together all their programs yet, and I believe that they'll be unlimited. I've come out strongly against the sales tax. That's the key point of my literature now and the key point of my discussions, as well as public safety, where my heart is.
Okay, Steve Geller, your views on this sales tax referendum?
Okay, let me just first very quickly touch on the issue of public safety. I have been endorsed by the firefighters, PPA, FOP. I believe IUPA has endorsed both of us, different locals. So the public safety people, including the Broward Sheriff, have all endorsed me on that. In reference to the sales tax, I have real problems, and if you want to read my interview with Sun Sentinel, I have real problems. The county does have a well-thought-out 30-year plan on how to spend the money. Cities do not. I am very concerned about that. It is my clear belief that this will fail. I believe it will fail the way that they've done it. First, they were fighting with each other, which left a bad taste. Second, you have to pass two separate sales taxes that are linked together. I think that will confuse the voters. Some may vote for one, some may vote for the other. I find it unlikely that both will pass. Having said that, even though I have real problems, and by the way, I've also examined it in detail, and I don't think there's a whole lot in the first 10 years going to District 5. I think District 5 was underchanged in the first 10 years. Having said all of that, I've spoken with many thousands of voters in District 5. I can tell you absolutely that their biggest single concern is transportation. Since I see no other short alternative on the horizon that will deal with all of these issues, even though it's not the way I would have passed it, I understand the county may have had no choice because of some recalcitrant cities. I'm going to reluctantly vote for it, but I do not believe that it will pass.
Okay, I've got a follow-up question. I'll start with you this time.
Sure.
Steve Geller, because I've covered your career since day one, as you know.
You wrote about me in 1988.
And I know that you've been a committed Democrat your whole life, and this comment was made by other people here. This is a community with a very diverse population and a very large population of people at or below the poverty line. The sales tax is the most regressive tax you can levy because it's basically a percentage of what you're consuming, and and people who have less disposable income are paying a higher proportion. So how can you as a Democrat defend increasing the sales tax?
When Marco Rubio was the Speaker of the House and I was the Democratic leader of the Senate, I will take most of the credit personally for working with Senator Pruitt, our Republican Senate President, who asked me to negotiate. And we were able to block a lot of Marco's plans to do exactly what you're talking about, raise sales tax, lower property tax. I don't like this plan. I have real problems with it, and if somebody can offer me another alternative to raise as much money as this, I would jump on it. I don't know any other way of saying it. I don't like it, but I promise my constituents that I will do everything I can to improve traffic. I have a plan on it, but this will help provide some of the funding.
Okay. Mr. Lanza, different question, and you heard the presentation earlier about the status of the anticipated evolving litigation over the dredging project at the port's been trying to get for so long. Do you support what Port Everglades is trying to do here in terms of accommodating these larger vessels? And what do you think about the legal challenge being posed to this project?
I've been a big supporter of the port, and I support them again on this. And they've done several of the projects that I really think are leading edge, like the intermodal container transfer facility, which is getting property into the county and out of the county quickly and efficiently, so it saves us all money and makes the port successful. The major issue, well, before I actually go on that, let me talk for a second about the unions. Senator Geller said that he had all the endorsements. The issue is the only one that we've both been endorsed by was the only union that interviewed both candidates. The other unions only obviously interviewed one candidate, and he got the endorsement. That's why I keep falling back on the fact that he is a career politician and obviously tied very closely with our unions. Back to the port. The dredging and widening of the port is extremely important for us to be competitive with the other ports in Florida and other places in the United States. As soon as the Panama Canal is finished and they start sending the ships, the larger Panmax ships, we're going to need to have our ports widened because right now they're coming in light and they're unloading less containers than they could normally bring in. That reduces the income to the port as well as all the throughput of all the products that come into Broward County.
Okay, Steve Geller, this is one of my lightning round questions, so here, I'm gonna ask.
Okay, I have to touch on the port issue in front of Port Everglades.
Go ahead, briefly.
Do my best. I was chairman of the state subcommittee on seaports. Unlike other people, in my literature, one of the things I list is the seaport. When I was in the Senate, I put together the working group, the airport, the seaport, the railroad, FDOT, and others. Let me be very clear. When I'm out campaigning, I talk about income inequality, and I talk about the best way to fix that is creating high-paying jobs. Port Everglades will be, it's probably the thing that is my top priority as a county commissioner. I understand the impact of the port. I'm not saying this today. I say it to everybody. I've said it for 20 years in the legislature. I'm not just talking the talk. I've walked the walk on the port.
The new hotel, it's going to take some time, but it'll make this county a bigger tourist destination than it is even now. I watched you for many years in Tallahassee as a proponent of increasing opportunities for gambling in certain places, and my question to you is, as a Broward County Commissioner, would you work to enhance and provide more gambling opportunities for people?
Certainly not at that location. The traffic there is already horrific and will be made worse by this. There are currently a number of pari-mutuels in Broward County. We've got the Gulfstream, Mardi Gras, Hollywood, and Dania, where there's also 3 Seminole casinos. I've never actually said, let's have more gambling. It depends on what type. I don't want to do something that will take away all of the tourism that we currently have at the Indian casinos. I don't want to do anything that would kill the pari-mutuels. I am certainly a national expert on this. I was the national president of the National Council of Legislators from Gaming States, and I hope to have input on any gambling legislation, but you got to see what it is. You can't comment in the abstract.
Mr. Lanza, you have an unusual resume that you've been a department head or in the bureaucratic side for a long time at the 2 largest counties in the state. Most people, if you push them a little bit, or not very much, they will say to you, government at all levels just wastes money, left and right. My question to you is, in your experiences in Dayton, Broward, how efficiently did those governments use the tax dollars they were getting?
They efficiently spend the money. Now, I don't believe that I do believe that there's a lot of waste in government, and I've seen it firsthand. But as a department director and a division director in both counties, I was a very, very fiscal conservative, made sure our budget was always less than it, always came in below what it should have been. We always made sure all of our people put the best effort in, and I think a lot of departments in both counties do that, but there's a lot of them that don't. And quickly on the hotel issue, it's another concern I have is the county is not good at building stuff. Look at the BB&T, they're always concerned about how they're going to pay for that, whether the people are going to back out of it or not. I got the same concerns about the hotel. We'll get ourselves into a major expense and not be able to pay it down the road.
Okay. Thank you both, gentlemen. Appreciate it. Wish we had more time.